We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land which we are filming today, the people of the Kulin Nation. We also pay our respects to their elders, past and present. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Queued Up. Today we have a very special guest, Todd Watson, Head of Creative Services at QSIC. Obviously, I see you very often, sometimes every day of the week. But I'd love for you to give everyone a little bit of a spiel of who you are, your background, before we dive into some questions.
Sure thing. Hi, Nikki. It's a pleasure to be here. Very excited, and congratulations to you for putting this Queued Up project together. It's an amazing piece of content for QSIC, so thank you. So I am Todd Watson, Head of Creative Services. I've been at QSIC for 10 years this coming February.
Wow. It's a big stint.
Yes. So started back in 2016, and yeah, it's been a hell of a ride. It's still a lot of fun.
And I guess, what are you doing now in your role, and what were you doing when you first started?
So when I first started, the role was head of content and specifically looking at music curation.
Yeah.
So the journey was previous a DJ, music producer, also worked in hospitality, and I was able to fix up some of the musical structure that the founders, Nick and Matt, had. They had curated a lot of the playlists themselves. So a lot of the playlists looked very much the same.
Yeah.
And then it was my job to build a musical library, because it was all just in a folder, essentially, just millions of songs in a folder, and curate those playlists.
Yeah. Oh gosh, thinking about all of those songs just in one big playlist makes me scared.
Yeah, it was just a search, and it was like, okay, what are we going to build today?
Yeah.
It was also really fun. Those are some of the funnest projects most of the time. These days, everything's a little bit more polished, thanks to you. And these days the role is significantly different, overseeing the ad production services in the business too. So back in the day, music only. These days, more of two pillars of music curation and ad services.
Yeah. And, Queued Up, we bring all sorts of people on from the music industry. And I think you've dropped a few little hints there, but you've got a bit of a colourful background when it comes to DJing, being in the industry. I think it would be great for us to dive a little bit deeper into that and discover where you have been prior to QSIC, because I think it's really interesting.
Okay.
I'm like, DJ. I don't really know much about DJing, so I think you'll be my gateway into that. But first, I just want to ask: is there a track or a moment, or a person that got you into music? Like, when was your first experience of music, and the influences that you now love today?
I was very fortunate that my mum and dad have an incredible record collection. A lot of people probably say that, but they had an incredible selection. And mum, when I was young, would always just play records all the time. And when my brother was starting primary school, my mum would actually just put a record on and just sit me in front of her, and that was her entertainment for the day. She still tells me about that today. It's quite a sweet story. And I guess that was the genesis for everything to be. I was in bands in high school, lots of new metal, lots of post-grunge, and then went to audio engineering college straight out of school. I knew I was going to the college halfway through year 12, so I had quite a fun second half of year 12, maybe a little bit less pressure on the tertiary side.
Yeah.
But a very fun journey into music production. My dad actually took me to a recording studio in year 10.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had written a song, and he was like, I want you to go and get this recorded. So I recorded all the parts, the bass, drums, guitar. It was instrumental, thank God, for everyone who ever had to listen to that. And that was really where I was like, okay, music production, this is where it's at.
It sounds like you had, I don't know, like not everyone has this experience, but you've had really supportive parents. The fact that your dad took you to a recording studio and says, record it, sounds like they nurtured whatever was bubbling under the surface there.
Yeah, absolutely. And my poor mum, I come home from school and I'm going through this very strong new metal phase.
Rough.
And just plugging in the guitar straight home from school and playing very heavy, loud music in the leafy streets of Glen Iris. My poor mum, she had to put up with that. But It's all part of the journey.
I mean, at least you didn't take up drums. I feel like that's
Yes,
or
exactly.
trumpet apparently is really bad when people are
Oh, no.
learning it.
My poor friend who played the drums, his poor parents, that was not fun for them.
I just don't know how people do it. It's so loud.
Yeah. And not only that, but if you're bad at it,
Ooh,
then
yeah.
it's really bad.
It's really bad. All my parents had to put up with was me singing in my room with like the music on blast. So like at least that was better than like I don't
Just
know.
T-swears or?
I actually surprisingly enough wasn't that much of a fan when I was younger.
Okay.
I was definitely more into musical theatre. So like it was soundtracks to Wicked or the musical I'd be doing at school.
Right.
And just playing it on repeat.
Have you seen Wicked 2 yet?
I have seen Wicked 2.
Thumbs up?
It was good. I was disappointed that they didn't focus more on the fact that, spoiler alert, the wizard is her dad.
Whoa, massive spoiler alert.
They just kind of brush over it at the end. I feel like it could have been an interesting storyline.
Okay.
That's my recap on Wicked 2. But the second half of the musical's always been not as strong as the first half, so I was kind of predicting that from the movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
But back onto your DJ career, away
Yes.
from Wicked, I'd
Yes.
love to know, how did that start? Did you start off just doing it as a hobby and then you realized that, hey, I can actually financially gain something here?
So there's 2 tracks. Most commonly, DJs turn into music producers, but
Yeah.
for me, it was the other way around. So I'd finished the audio engineering at SAE, and then my friend was like, hey, you've got to meet my friend. He's a DJ and his friend's a nightclub promoter. They want to get into music production and they're looking for someone, you guys should meet. So fresh out of the college, I had this CD with my production on it. I went into someone's car out the front of Greville Street, put the CD in the Celica, and the nightclub promoter listened to it and he was like, come meet us on the weekend. We're going to take you to this recording studio in the city. Okay. So off we go into the city, this incredible recording studio, but it was like makeshift, but it was like somewhat of a dungeon, but like in terms of like the layout, like the opportunity that they had to create a really cool studio down there. So down we go, and they've got a whole Pro Tools set up. They have no idea how to use it, but they've got it all decked out.
But they've just decked it out and they go, I don't know how to use this.
They're just like, so what do you think? And I'm like, loaded up the machine. I started like playing around with the synths, and they were looking at each other like, okay. At the time, I was living on the Gold Coast. So I just finished my audio engineering course.
Yeah.
And I was up on the GC having a whale of a time, no pun intended. And then I came back and they were like, we want you to move back to Melbourne. So moved back to Melbourne, and then that's how I learnt to DJ on the back of all of the music production. So DJing came second. And over the next 5 years, had the most incredible experience because shout out my friend Frunch, who I'm still one of my best mates today. He was working at Future Entertainment and also Fuzzy. So all of the biggest DJs that were coming to Australia, we had this unprecedented access. And not only that, whenever they came to town, they needed a host while they're in town. So we got to wine and dine all of these incredible DJs like Swedish House Mafia, Steve Angelo. He came to my house one day because it was the day.
Watson special, just rocking up your front door.
Yeah, I was living in Carlton and it was the day of the concert and he was playing. And we're like, oh, you meet us on Lygon Street. And I lived behind Lygon Street. He came over to the house and he loaded up a Logic session on my computer. And we were all looking at each other like, oh my God.
It's one of those moments you go, what is going on?
Yeah, and this guy was major. And he showed us a trick when in the breakdown of a track in a club record about this production technique that he used. And then he was like, cool, let's get some lunch. And we were just like pressing save on the session. We were like, oh my God.
Make sure it does not crash.
Yes. So I have an incredible production technique for anyone who wants to know. But then from there, just with the touring, obviously like the honor of like meeting Daft Punk.
I've seen that photo.
Yes, no, it's one of my most treasured possessions when they were here in 2007, being in Ibiza in 2006. There was about a dozen Australian DJs. We all stayed together in a villa in Ibiza, and we were all kind of just trying to make our way. And a lot of us were songwriters too, so trying to, do record deals, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And had a lot of kind of like underground success with like some records that we wrote. We wrote a song that we had called This Is, and we never signed it. We were in talks with a couple of international labels, never signed it. And then one day someone sent me a video on YouTube of Carl Cox playing it in 2007 at the opening night of Space nightclub.
Oh,
They're like,
wow.
you need to see this video. And I was like, no way. And I pressed play and there it was. It was a song. And then a year later, Carl Cox was DJing in Melbourne. I went up to him. I was like, you know that song that you were playing? That was mine. He was looking at me like I was some crazy. But
do you ever know like how that eventuated? Like how did he end up, did you find out how he got the song?
We had given him the demo through his manager.
Okay.
And thought nothing of it.
Yeah.
And then Felix the House Cat, who was another DJ from Chicago who was huge on the scene, we'd given it to him. He actually played it at My Music Bowl while we were there.
Oh, sick.
To like probably about 14,000. That was an incredible experience.
Wow.
I still have the Nokia footage on my phone.
Oh, Nokia footage. I'm so sure that's really, it's up to your 4K standards,
No,
cinematic standards.
It's not 4K. It needs restoration.
My mind's still thinking about 12 DJs in a villa in Ibiza and what would happen in there.
Yeah. Well, a funny story. We're there and it's the first night. We're all settling in. The weather's immaculate. We've been out you have dinner at midnight. So we have this lovely dinner at midnight. And Axwell is at the villa, who's very close with some of the lads. But this is early Axwell, so pre-Swedish House Mafia. And he was DJing at Amnesia and he didn't have a car. So Axwell and his girlfriend got in the boot of one of the cars and drove to Amnesia nightclub that night.
Sounds like we need a disclaimer there. Do not get in the boot of a car.
Yeah, and this guy tends to fly private. So his life has significantly changed since then.
But he can always look back fondly on those moments of being in a car boot.
Yes, drive responsibly, kids.
Yeah. It's so great to hear some of these DJ stories. I feel like you'd have so many of them as you've been unpacking. But I'd also love to touch on, you mentioned shopping like records around to record labels, getting deals. Mm-hmm. What success did you have with that, and also chart wise?
We were very fortunate that along our journey writing songs together, and I had a production partner, Derek. He introduced me to Jason Singh, who's the lead singer of Taxi Ride. And Jason and I immediately hit it off. And we went out probably 2 years later and started to write our own music, more on the pop side, but then also the house music as well. And we were very lucky to, again, another little CD demo went to Grant Smiley from TV Rock. They had success with Flaunt It, commercial success through ARIA. Mm-hmm. And Grant messaged me and said, we'd love to sign it to Neon Records. And then we had ARIA chart success with that, which was pretty cool. It was, like driving around on a Saturday night and hearing Grant and John Course play it on the radio, that kind of stuff. That was really cool. And then lots of remixes, just did heaps of remixes and that type of stuff. Like very honoured to have remixed a song by Black Box, which is just an iconic like 90s dance band who, when you get the vocal stems to a piece of audio with a timeless vocal on it, that was incredible access.
And I feel like even when I joined QSIC, you were still DJing. When did you feel like you were ready to hang up the boots? Was there a moment where you went, can't do this anymore?
Yeah. There's been so many.
Yeah.
There's been so many moments where you have that moment of like, okay, it's probably time to hang up the headphones. This year is definitely, I think I've gone out to pasture this year. I think I'm officially washed as of this year. But like when you're DJing hospitality venues and people are asking you for, Harry Connick Jr. when it's, 11 p.m. with a full dance floor, that type of stuff, that's probably a signal that it's time to give it away.
It's time to stop.
Yeah, exactly. No disrespect to Harry Connick Jr., but perhaps maybe not the right time for that song to be played.
It's not really appropriate maybe for that time.
No.
Do you feel like there's a skill that you learnt whilst DJing that helps you in your work today at QSIC?
Yeah, definitely. I as you probably would know, I love a spreadsheet, and I love a well-groomed spreadsheet.
You do love a spreadsheet.
So back in the One Love days, I was a resident DJ at One Love. Shout out Frank from One Love. Those were probably the definitive glory days of house music in the Melbourne scene. I used to actually have spreadsheets of the songs and the artists and the duration that I'd printed out and put into each CD sleeve.
It's crazy.
And whilst that sounds somewhat believable, back then that was completely foreign. Like everyone just text a Sharpie.
Yeah.
They'd write the name of the song and they'd probably only have one song on one disc. But I would have 12 songs to a disc, 2 copies of the disc so I could put one in that CDJ, one in the other. So yeah, my spreadsheet passion dates back to the DJ kit.
I feel like this might be a controversial question, but how do you feel like DJing is, I guess, changed with the transition? Everything's like digital via USB. Like you're not actually swapping out records or CDs.
Yeah.
It almost feels like maybe there had to be more planning in place when you had physical things that you had to find to time properly.
Yeah.
The art's changed. Do you think?
Definitely.
Do you
Well,
think that?
David Guetta said this year that DJing is no longer a set list that you're playing live. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
So it's more the top end of the DJ scene is absolutely about performance and entertainment. So that has adverse reactions too, right? Because then you've got people who are pulling the phone out and recording it.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more about this like capturing the moment, whereas in yesteryear, I really don't want to be talking about the good old days, but obviously phones were in back pockets.
Back in my day.
In my day, we used to dance. So things are very different these days.
Yeah, it's interesting even just going out to a concert or, not even DJ specific. And like I was at Lady Gaga recently and you just see phones.
Yeah.
It's just walls of lights.
Yeah.
And I think we have lost that tangibility of just being in the moment.
Yeah. I never go to dance music festivals anymore.
Yeah.
It gives me anxiety just thinking about it. But this year I was like, I'm going to face it. I want to go out. I went to the Maya Music Bowl for this Circo Loco